Suzanne is the National Manager of After Stroke and Professional Practice at March of Dimes Canada. Suzanne brings a wealth of clinical experience, having worked as an occupational therapist in adult neurorehabilitation, with a focus on stroke rehab for most of her clinical career. Her experience spans the healthcare continuum and includes hospital, community, and government sectors. At March of Dimes, Suzanne has a dual role. She supports the development of competencies of staff working within after stroke to ensure they have the knowledge, skills, and attitude to be successful in their role. In addition, Suzanne has been integral in the development of the services and programs offered within after stroke to ensure that they are evidence-informed and meet the needs of clients and families impacted by stroke. This role also provides Suzanne with the opportunity to connect and collaborate with clients, families, stakeholders, and clinicians across Canada to better understand the ways in which March of Dimes Canada can facilitate providing support in the lives of those on their stroke recovery journey. Today, Suzanne will be speaking about supporting clients and families through provision of educational resources and programs after stroke at March of Dimes Canada. Welcome, Suzanne.
Got a peek at your agenda and wished I was there for the entire day, but unfortunately I'm not. But it looks like you had some great information being shared. So today I'm here to talk about the education programs and services at March of Dimes Canada within after stroke. And hopefully by the end of the presentation today, you'll have an understanding of the breadth of programs in after stroke and have an idea of some of the other programs that are accessible to our stroke clients, but may not be specific to stroke itself. And then hopefully, most importantly, I want you to know how to connect your clients to our programs and services. Most of you may know about March of Dimes Canada, but if not, I'm just going to do a quick little overview of who we are at a high level. So March of Dimes is a national disability support organization, and we've been around for over 75 years. And really inspired by our community, we are really expanding our horizons all the time. And together with clients, our partners, our supporters, our allies, we're working to create communities in which people living with disabilities can not only live, but thrive in all that they aspire to do. We have a purpose, vision, and mission for the organization. And really, this vision is to have an inclusive, barrier-free society for people with disabilities. You may not know we offer a lot more than after stroke programs, and I just would be remiss if I didn't share with you a couple of the programs I think you may be interested in learning more about. So we have programs that provide funding, support for vehicle and home modifications. We have programs that are specific for individuals with acquired brain injury. I think you probably all know about that one. We have supportive housing. We offer in-home support. We have a really robust employment services program, and they've launched a few new programs in the last year that are really awesome, one being Skilling Up. And we have a really robust advocacy program and group where we really work with clients to teach them how to be their best advocate. And I encourage you to go to the March of Dimes website and have a look. Some of the programs are province specific, so you'll want to pay attention to that. So let's drill down a little bit into after stroke. And it was about 4 years ago. I just started with the organization when we launched our new and enhanced version of after stroke. We'd been in the business of supporting stroke survivors and families for over 20 years, but we really decided 5 years ago when the program was being built that we really wanted to be an evidence-informed program, offer it across Canada. And we really built on our experiences with working with stroke survivors and families. We created a new vision and mission for after stroke. And I mean, you can see that here, and just the mission, bringing that forward. Really, our mission is to deliver that person-to-person support, educational opportunities, and innovative programs that people can access and that provide a connection to humanity, hope, and that there is life after stroke. Fulfilling these goals, this vision and mission really relies on our skilled and dedicated employees that we have across Canada. our wealth of volunteers that we have working in programs, and they really do bring knowledge, hope, and human connection to the services that we offer. But it also relies on support from our partners in government, U.S. healthcare providers, and our community service sectors. And you're all really our allies in creating and improving outcomes for stroke survivors in Canada. So when we began building this enhanced after stroke program, we really looked to, the best available evidence at the time. We focused greatly on the Canadian Stroke Best Practice Guidelines that I know you'll all be familiar with, and I still consider them my Bible. And for us working in the community sector, it's really about that transition section. But and I know they're just releasing some new guidelines shortly. So we really looked to that. We consulted experts in the field, looked to our stroke community for the lived experience perspective, which was critical. And we all know that, the challenging time that we hear from our clients and families is that transition from that protected feeling of being in the hospital, surrounded by people that are health professionals that know what they're doing, that instill confidence in the fact that people are going to be able to manage once they get home. But we know when people do get home, they flounder, they're overwhelmed. There's lots going on. So we implemented a personalized approach using a after stroke coordinator who does provide case management services and ensures that there's some navigation and guidance to the education that people need, the support they need, and connecting them with their community for that long-term support. So just highlighting, you guys know this, but I love bringing it forward, pulling exactly from the best practice guidelines. We know, and I'm talking about education for most of this presentation, education is an integral part of stroke care, and it needs to happen many times in many different ways. And, we often hear from our clients in the community, well, I never heard that. And I know, being the occupational therapist who worked in outpatient rehab, that for sure they've heard some of this before, but it just has not resonated. It hasn't stayed with them. So education is key. We know that peer support is a best practice, and that where possible, we should be letting clients know where they can find support and really encouraging them to join a group if possible. We know that support and education needs to not only be focused on the stroke survivor, but the client and their families, caregivers. And we really know the importance of the navigation role, importance of using evidence-informed assessment tools, which we do use, I'll talk about later. And I know that you have someone after me talking about navigation models, so that's fantastic. You'll hear more about the healthcare-based navigation model. And then, lastly, using web-based technologies. You're going to learn that all of our programs, our education programs, our one-to-one support, our peer support are offered virtually. So like everyone else, we had to pivot, and we've just had a great deal of success offering web-based programs to our clients and families. We do have an outcomes framework that we developed, and you can see that are highlighted. There are 6 domains. And what we try to do is that every program that we offer, we really want to be targeting a couple of these domains in terms of outcomes. Looking at outcomes, monitoring outcomes, it helps us drive future improvements. It helps us know whether we're meeting the mark with our clients. And it's kind of like that roadmap. What is it that we're hoping in terms of supporting our clients and families in the community? And you'll see as I go through a case scenario, you'll see some of these icons when I talk about the programs and how we've matched them up. So supporting educational needs of clients and families, it's a big job. I think the fact is, I just read a great article, and I put the link in here. It's just an article that was published in Australia recently. And it was talking about what clients and families really want in after-stroke education. And I was so thrilled because we really have been working hard the last 4 years to make sure we're meeting the needs of the clients based on what the research tells us. And we know that, and again, some of this is no surprise to any of you, there is no one-size-fits-all approach to providing education for clients. It needs to be individualized, tailored to their needs, tailored to their abilities, cognition, speech and language. It needs to be offered at multiple points in multiple formats. And, there is a real breadth of topics that our clients want to know about. And so we need to be able to either navigate them to those resources or provide that education ourselves. And I'll talk about how we're doing that. So we have 3 different ways that we are offering education. First and foremost, it's individualized. So most of our clients come to us through the after-stroke coordinator, the referral to the after-stroke coordinator. And really what we're doing is creating a personalized approach, setting personalized goals, and most of the time education is a component of that. We offer group-based programming in the form of education, skills training in living life to the full, which is a mental health program, which I'll share a bit later. Our new program that we'll be launching called Life After Stroke, and through our peer support groups, where there's a lot of informal education and sharing that goes on. And then we have sort of 2 that I call monthly on-demand resources. One is our incredible Ask an Expert webinar series. We run this, and I'll talk about it later. It's once a month. And then we have our national newsletter called Snippets. So in order to highlight the programs, I think it's best to sort of tell you about a client who came through and how she used the programs and how we navigated her along the route. So I'm introducing you to Julia here. Julia's 45. She's married. She's a mom of 3, and she's a nurse by training, was working part-time, lives in a rural Ontario town. And she has a really great network of colleagues and friends and families, and a great social support network. She describes her marriage as being really solid, but she did notice that, since her stroke, not having that extra income, there's been the financial burden, and her husband does seem to be a little bit more stressed and easily aggravated. She did have a healthy lifestyle prior to her stroke, and it was discovered that the stroke was the result of a heart defect that had gone unnoticed until now. Julia was really lucky because she was in a hospital that had the joint program called Hospital Peer Connections. And this is a highly collaborative program between March of Dimes After Stroke team and the local hospital, either the rehab unit or the stroke unit, depending on what the hospital has. And the aim of this program is really to help make a connection early on with a peer. So between an individual who is newly diagnosed with stroke with someone who's well on their way into the recovery journey. And you'll see Nathan on the screen, and Nathan is actually one of our peer volunteers, and he's been working in the program for a while, meeting with patients on the unit, and he answers questions and provides his own live experience. But with Julia, he did share some specific educational resources. So we always want to make sure that clients have the Heart and Stroke, Your Stroke Journey book. And we often have our volunteers use that as a talking point with clients. If there's anything specific that a client notices or wants to talk about, it's a really good jumping off point to give the lived experience perspective from our volunteer. And then Nathan also shared some of the programs and services that he wanted Julia to think about once she was discharged from the hospital. After meeting with Nathan, Julia really thought that she was ready to have a formal referral from her hospital team to March of Dimes after stroke. So that was done. And about a week and a half after she arrived home, she got a call from her intake coordinator. And the intake coordinator explained what happens within after stroke, the programs and services that were available. And Julia was really glad because the coordinator asked about Julia's readiness. It sounds good, but did she have the bandwidth? Was she busy? Was she doing any other treatment? And Julia wasn't sure she had the energy to participate in too much. But after speaking with the intake coordinator, she felt reassured that she could go at her own pace. And so she was connected to an after-stroke coordinator. So we often get asked, who do we employ as our after-stroke coordinators? Because we're not a healthcare agency. I call us healthcare adjacent. Um, so we employ a group of really skilled, educated, and caring staff that come from a variety of backgrounds. And I think that eclectic mix really gives for rich discussions and sharing on our teams. And many of, well, I would say most of, if not all of the after-stroke coordinators have a higher level education in health science, kinesiology, occupational therapy assistants, gerontology, rec therapy, and we actually have a couple of nurses right now as coordinators. Each year, we ask our coordinators to review their competencies and to assess their confidence and to set goals around what they feel that they need to work on. And that's part of my role at the organization, to work with the staff. You may or may not be aware that we used an evidence-informed assessment tool when we work with our clients to really, dig into what are they dealing with as they try to reintegrate into the community. So the RNLI, or the Return to Normal Living Index, is a stroke-specific researched assessment tool that we use. And then we use a goal setting and action plan document to ensure that we map out what the client is telling us, what they want to work on, and they know what their next steps will be. So coming back to Julia, and after she met with the after-stroke coordinator, and she indicated that she had a number of challenges with her balance, her mood, her cognition, and due to the fact that she was not working, as I mentioned, there were some financial challenges that they were experiencing. And she really had a need to read about some of these issues that she was facing. So the after-stroke coordinator, Julia, worked together, created some goals. First thing she was encouraged to do was to connect with the family doctor once she, was back in the community again, and just make sure that they had a good perspective on her mood and her mobility in case it was related to medication or in case medication might be helpful. And, right from the get-go, the after-stroke coordinator provided Julia with resources from Heart and Stroke, from Stroke UK, and most importantly, links to our Ask an Expert webinar series, because there were some topics, mood being one and cognition post-stroke, that we had experts come and speak. And so these videos are all available on YouTube. And so, Julia was given a bit of information and time to chew on it. And they arranged another appointment when Julia was ready to kind of take the next steps. Just taking a pause, this is an actual quote from Julia, one of our clients. She says that she'll never forget that initial telephone conversation she had with the after-stroke coordinator. She felt so out of her element, so much going on in her life, and she felt, a pillar of strength for her and gave her hope to move forward and try out some programs. Because we offer all of our programs virtually, people do need to have tech skills. And although Julia had some, she had not been familiar with Teams. And she indicated to our coordinator that she really would benefit from a refresher on how to do that. And one of our great programs, we have a technology support group at March of Dimes Canada, not specific to afterstroke, can be accessed with anyone with a disability. And we connected her to a program called High Tech. And the purpose of High Tech really is to empower adults with disabilities, so in this case, stroke, to build their digital skills and become engaged in the digital world. And many of our clients need a little bit of a refresher or like a little one-to-one help just to make sure they're confident in terms of accessing our programs. At the 3-month mark, when Julia met with the after-stroke coordinator again, she did say that she was feeling better. She was less emotional. She had a bit more energy, but she did acknowledge that her mood was still low and she was, really struggling, especially with anxiety about, could she ever return to work? What would she do? How would she find purpose? And the after stroke coordinator thought it was a good time to mention one of our key programs in after stroke, and it's called Living Life to the Full. It's a mental health program that was developed by the Canadian Mental Health Association. And we had great success with this program that was run out in Western Canada alongside Stroke Recovery Association BC. And so we decided it was something that we thought filled a gap that we had heard and that we could have our staff trained and offer the program. So it is run by our March of Dimes staff who participated in the CMHA training. And it's offered as a series of 8 90-minute virtual sessions, group-based, and it teaches participants really how to recognize and work through their feelings, emotions. There's a small cost to this program, and there is eligibility criteria to ensure clients are a good fit and are ready to commit to the program. The next 2 slides I put on here just to give you an idea of the topics that are discussed in Living Life to the Full. And, the format is really, the teaching is based on CMHA guidelines. And so there's teaching, but there's also a lot of small group discussion, and clients really like that. And of course, all of our clients have had a stroke. And we are our facilitators. We've created some additional information that just ties in why people with stroke are experiencing, mood difficulties, fatigue, much more than sort of the average population, because this program that was created by CMHA was not just for people with medical conditions such as stroke. So you see that they talk about feelings, trying to identify things that make them feel better, building confidence, changing the narrative by looking at things differently, identifying the things that help and things that don't help, learning some mindfulness techniques and breathing, and, identifying those very personal things that make each and every one of us happy, and it's different for all of us. And so it's really, skills-based, meant to, when people leave, they have the skills that they need, and there are booklets that are sent to the clients as part of the fee that they're paying. And each week, this is a closed session, so each week they build on the skills and teachings from the week before. So it's not a drop-in. People have to commit to attending. So at the 6-month mark, Julia basically was connected to a few programs, but she was starting to be really interested in the peer support. She found that peer support component of Living Life to the Full was so great. She was ready to kind of jump into some of our peer support groups. And she picked a group that was suitable for her schedule. And our clients really talk about peer support. I think it's the backbone of March of Dimes. We've been doing it a long time, since the mums were marching for a cure for polio and collecting dimes. That was really that first iteration of peer support. And, our clients tell us how happy they are attending. And this is really, there's a lot of informal education that's shared, a lot of informal tips and tricks that clients share with each other. So it is, it's not just sort of that emotional support, but it's informational and practical support as well. One of my favorite programs is Ask an Expert, and hopefully some of you have joined in. We open this to our stakeholders, our community partners, our clients, and their families. And there is no cost to attend. There's a registration that's required initially, and topics change by the month. And we do have subject matter experts, just some incredible speakers from across Canada that talk on a variety of topics. And these topics are selected and chosen based on a survey that we deploy every year to our participants in the program, asking them what's top of mind, what do they really want to hear about. And we recommended this to Julia, and she really loved this program once she started attending as well. All right, so a new program hasn't launched yet called Life After Stroke. Some of you may have heard that we were underway in the development of a new client-focused stroke education and self-management program. And you may be aware that we had partnered in the past with Heart and Stroke Foundation, offering their Living with Stroke program until they sunset the program a while back. And we did some research, really felt that there was a gap and a need. And we had done a in-house evaluation with our Knowledge to Action team on the Living with Stroke program offered virtually. So we had a lot of rich data from that evaluation, and our staff had led the programs, so they had a ton of experience in knowing what worked and what changes could we make if we created our own program to make sure it was successful in meeting needs of clients. So last April, we convened a small and mighty working group, a co-design team, and it includes a number of individuals with lived experience of stroke, March of Dimes staff, and a representative from the Toronto Stroke Networks. And at that time, we created a formal collaboration with the Toronto Stroke Networks to use their Guide to Stroke Recovery as the foundational content for this program. In addition, we embedded flexible content into this program. There's a focus on goal setting, and there are many opportunities for facilitator-led discussions within this format. And peer support is really an integral part of this program because we heard loud and clear that was really meaningful for our clients. What else can I tell you? Give you a sneak peek. We're really hoping to launch this it's a pilot for our clients late spring. And right now we have 16 topic-specific modules, some of which will be considered mandatory in the program delivery and others will be considered optional. We've maintained a facilitator co-led model to ensure that there's the lived experience perspective in a facilitator role. Right now, we're in the process of recording subject matter expert videos to embed the segments within our program, within the PowerPoint modules, to ensure that we're offering the program with using a variety of modes, not just slides. And when we deploy the program in a pilot version, we're going to have pre and post outcome measures. We're going to have facilitator and participant guides as well. And I think some of you may have heard this, although March of Dimes is going to be offering the program as one of our core suite of programs in After Stroke. Eventually, the program materials are going to be shared broadly via the Stroke Network because we want everyone to benefit from the materials we created. They won't be editable, but they will be available to people who might want to run their own program. Lastly, we have another educational resource that we offer monthly. Some of you may subscribe, and if you don't, I encourage you to. It's called Snippets. And it's a monthly newsletter that's sent to your inbox. And each month there's a new theme. And it's usually in coordination with our Ask the Expert theme, if we can make that happen. And subscription is easy. If you get a hold of a copy, you can see up in the top corner on the screen here, there's a subscribe button, so it's easy to do. But if you don't have access to an issue at the moment, just go onto our After Stroke website, scroll down to the bottom. There's a Stay in the Know section. You can fill that in. So just a pause for you to think. This is a comment that that somebody made when we were telling them about After Stroke out in Newfoundland. We've launched up our program out in Newfoundland in a number of hospitals. And how can we ensure that all stroke survivors have awareness of the services and programs that we offer at March of Dimes? There are 3 ways to contact us. One is through our stroke support line, which is manned Monday to Friday, 8 to 5 Ontario time zone by an information navigator. And right now that's Jay. Jay's our information navigator, and he's there to answer questions, not just about after stroke, but about programs at March of Dimes in general. But as well, he has a national resource database that he keeps up to date, as up to date as possible, that's by province, by topic, by community. And so people can call in and say, Jay, you know what? I live in Alberta and I'm looking for a aquatic program that has a lift because I can't manage stairs to get into the pool. And he can help somebody find that information in the moment. So I encourage you to have your clients call him with any questions. You can go to our website, check out some information we have on there, and then you can email us at afterstroke@marchofdimes.ca, and that's monitored daily. So you usually get a fairly quick response to your questions. Now, I'm hoping that I can play this video.
Well, for me, the March of Dimes is very, very important. It's because of the people, it's because of the programs, it's because of all that they do. It's really important for me, but also for everybody else that's involved in aphasia.
Well, my experience with March of Dimes started right from hospital. I mean, we were very lucky to have volunteers come out to the hospital to talk to us. I found that as a tremendous help. It was something that really set us off in the right direction right from the get-go. We had no idea. So very thankful for those people that come to visit us in hospital. You know, there's so many things that the March of Dimes offers through different groups across the country, on Zoom, and informative sessions that we dial in for and watch, and very thankful for all of that as well.
My experiences with the March of Dimes programs and services have been overwhelmingly positive. Everybody that I've been in contact with has been very understanding, very encouraging, very patient, and they've been a real help in my recovery process. In particular, the Young Stroke Survivor Network has been incredibly helpful to me in my recovery. It's let me know that I'm not the only person out there who's suffered a stroke at such a young age. I've learned some really important techniques for dealing with fatigue, for setting goals, for journaling, to track my own progress towards those goals. And I owe a lot to the people in that group, as well as the coordinators who have worked in that group.
All right, so that brings me to the end, and I hope I achieved my objectives. So I hope you have a better sense of the educational programs and services that we offer at March of Dimes in After Stroke. I hope that you know how to connect clients to us through those 3 different ways. And if you want more information, I think that hopefully you know how to access our March of Dimes site or our After Stroke site.
Very good. Thank you, Suzanne. It's a really, really great talk. Lots of information. If people have questions, could you just type them into the chat? The evaluation link is also online and in the chat, if you could quickly fill that out. We did have a question partway through your talk, Suzanne. When you have clients complete the RNLI, do you have them give answers based on support available to them from others, or only what they are able to do independently?
Yeah, good question. I mean, it's all about their confidence level. And so really it's the combination. If they have somebody with them all the time and they're able to do something and they're feeling confident because their spouse is with them, that's their answer. So it's really about how they've integrated. If they feel like it's a goal that they want to set, that they want to be less reliant and they want to be confident independently, well, that's a goal that we're going to set, but really their answer is based on how they're managing in the moment.
Great, thank you. I wanted to ask a little bit about the Living Life to the Full program, and I might have missed it, but is that an online program and is it available to our people across the Northeast?
Yes, so it is an online
Okay.
virtual group-based program available to anyone across Canada. The point of entry is through an after-stroke coordinator for the most part. There may be the occasional exception, but I'll tell you why. Not everybody's ready for this program. People that are highly emotional, maybe are really struggling, and it's too early for them. We're going to look at some other supports, maybe one-to-one support. Some people really aren't thrilled about discussions in groups. And so again, this is a group format, is based on, small group discussions as well. Some people can't commit to the full 8 weeks. And so again, that's another thing. We really want to make sure that people, if they're putting down the money, it's $50, that they're really able to commit to that, because each session builds each week. And so, we've learned that it's disappointing for the clients when they don't really get the most out of it because they haven't been able to commit. And it's disappointing for the facilitators who are really working hard with everyone in the group to bring them along at the same rate. So, but it is open to everybody. It's great.
Yeah. Okay, great. I just want to mention that the Life After Stroke program, we're chomping at the bit for. You may know that, but the Northeast with our navigators, and the March of Dimes runs 2 of those programs out of Timmins and the Sioux, but we have 6 programs.
Yep.
And we used to all do a Life After Stroke type program through the Heart Stroke Foundation. And so it's been offline for a while.
Yeah.
And our healthcare providers are anxious and our patients and families are anxious. So we're really thrilled that March Dimes took that on and is getting there. And so we're just waiting
Yep.
for the news from you that it's ready to go. So just know that in the Northeast, we're going to be all about that program when it's ready.
That's so exciting. We've heard so much positive input and interest in it. And so we're really excited. And we just feel like we've really listened to our clients and really tried to make this about what works for them, what they need to hear, and have some flexibility. So we're super excited. I'll tell you, we're super excited. And we want to do it right. So it took a little longer than I anticipated, but I'm not the best person to judge time frames.
Yeah, that's okay. It's coming, and that's
Yeah,
we're
it
really
is.
thrilled about it here in the Northeast for sure.
Yeah.
So if there's no other questions from the group, I want to just take a moment and thank you, Suzanne. We appreciate you speaking. We appreciate you speaking near the end of the day when everybody's a little tired and our knowledge is capped. We've learned so much today. So really thank you for sharing with us today. And we look forward to working with March of Dimes and with our clients in the near future.
Thanks, Sue. It's a pleasure, and you're always such a great ally for us. So more together is
Yeah. Thanks, Suzanne. Take care now.
You too. Bye-bye.